You put it under finance.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chairman, we also add purchase of these leases under finance.
Yeah, I'll add that to my motion. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
what we have. Okay, leases.
Be two separate motions?
We have a motion
Yeah,
on
I
the, we
think
have a
so.
motion on the table to approve the agenda with the two additions that were discussed, one being the leases, the second being a further discussion of our county coordinator contract.
Okay.
So I have a motion, do I hear a second?
Support.
I have a motion with support. All in favor of approving the agenda with those two additions, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Tonight's agenda is approved. All right, at this time, we're gonna move into public comment. I have only one slip here for Paula Brooks. Oh, there you are.
Just a quick question. It hasn't been brought up in recent times, but I was going to ask about the ARPA money on the website how that money has all been dispersed or is being dispersed or going to be dispersed. I've had people ask me about it. They had some other ideas that they would like to maybe see done, and I said, I think the money is probably pretty well accounted for, but there's nothing on the website like it was told that it was going to be on the website, that there was going to be a tab for the ARPA money. There were straight out expenditures, and I know that there were monies that were spent on the lost revenue stream, so if that could be identified, it would be nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Bach.
We will be discussing that probably between A and B somewhere.
Thank you.
Okay, we have it.
Very good. Anyone else? All right. In that case, we'll move on to committee motions and reports. Commissioner Plowman, why don't we start with you?
Okay, I'm gonna move the discussion of county coordinator leases to the very bottom. So leases would be F,
Mhm.
and discussion of county coordinator would be G. EFG?
Yep.
Okay. Item A, I move to authorize the 2022 end-of-year budget adjustments as presented and authorize the county administrator to make any needed additional end-of-year budget adjustments to close out the 2022 budget.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Would there be discussion?
So briefly, as we do every year, you have a set of adjustments in front of you. Those are the ones year to date. There will be some others that will occur between now and your first meeting in January, closing out the year. We will go ahead and make those adjustments, but then present them to the board in January for their authorization to approve those, but we do need to be making them as we go. As part of that, I just want you to look at this that has been passed out to you. It is an accounting of the ARPA funds year to date. It includes the stuff from today's agenda plugged in as well. And between the courthouse renovations, the revenue replacement for this particular budget, the courthouse renovations coming in at $6.4 million, the jail windows and roof, the VA building renovations, park maintenance, prosecutor's office, fleet vehicle upgrades, which includes the things that we're talking about tonight, smart start, smart tracking program, which was the tethers that the court is using, the health department assistance, the family court support, the law library, departmental cleaning supplies, Gator purchase, jail security servers, Zoom licenses, Surbeck building repairs, and then the jail district roof, or the jail and district roof coming in. We are at an expenditure of $13.341 million, which is plus our interest of $110 million that we've received, places us right at the amount that we have been awarded.
Yeah.
So the total amount will be encumbered or accounted for.
Very good. Thank you for that. I love summaries like that. That's very helpful.
Okay.
sorry.
We were on item A.
We had a motion with support. Roll call on that, please.
No, we-
No, we
that's
don't
not
need a
this
roll call,
meeting.
it's not
That's
Thursday, it's
tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Yep.
All in favor of moving that forward to tomorrow night, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that will move forward to tomorrow.
I move that we approve the 2023 budget resolution and adopt the 2023 budget as presented.
Support.
I have a motion with support, is there a discussion on that item?
I would ask that the board consider making one change to the resolution. Instead of the amount for department heads and myself being at 5,000, with inflation that you raise it to 6,000. We've had several things, purchases that have been right at that cusp, but now with inflation are over, that are no longer able to be done. It hasn't been raised since 2004, and before that, 1994.
Ah,
So,
So this is part of the
budget
budget resolution, and that gives department heads.
Correct.
it's an authority thing, not necessarily a spending thing.
Yeah, in 1994, it was $500. In 2004, it was raised to $5,000. And now 5,000 with inflation is cutting it very close.
I would add that to my motion for the budget. For the
Oh, I
budget
thought we were
resolution.
gonna reduce it.
Leave it to Gary.
All right,
I'll keep my
we
support.
have support on that change. Any further discussion on that? All in favor of moving that forward, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that will move forward.
Item C, I move to accept tentative agreement between AFSCME and Shiawassee County and authorize the chair to execute the final agreement.
I have a motion, do I have support?
Not for me.
Then I will support that.
Okay. Discussion.
Discussion on that item? Hearing none, all in favor of moving that forward to tomorrow, signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
We move that forward to tomorrow.
I move to approve the senior citizen service agreement between Shiawassee Council on Aging and Shiawassee County and authorize the chair to execute the same.
Support, I'll support that.
Thank you, I have a motion with support on that item, there'll be further discussion.
I'm on the senior citizen board, so.
I would just remind the board that this is done every time the millage is passed. That is the service provider that you select to spend the millage money. This is the agreement with them that provides for that. They have reviewed it, they're good with it.
Yep. We've had some discussion, further discussion, all in favor of moving that forward, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, and that moves forward as well.
I move to approve the proposal from Tremco for replacement of the remaining part of the jail roof in amount not to exceed $650,000 and the district court roof in amount not to exceed $300,000.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Discussion on our roof projects.
I just like to point out that the original bids have come down substantially, and it's a 25-year guarantee for a flat roof. And all of us know about flat roofs in Michigan.
Yes. Not sure whose idea it would be to put on a flat roof in Michigan, but I know it saves a few dollars up front and gives you headaches for the life of the building. But that's what we have. Is there further discussion on that item?
That's being paid by ARPA.
That is correct.
Yes, it is. We have that on the, here.
I just don't like those type of roofs. I think we should have got a bid on foam, but I was on the Valley Agency on Aging and also the Capital Area Community Services and all their buildings that put foam on. They're doing lots of those now. I'm on the senior citizen board. We did that over to Morris too, so we had trouble with one of the plastic things on that was leaking, so we foamed it. And also the hardware and some of the other buildings in Morris did the same thing. So.
I will point out, I talked to Tim Hill, and there is a certain amount of leveling foam that is put on first before they put on the next layer. Isn't that correct?
They have to put in about 8 inches of foam
use foam.
So there is a foam product that is part of it.
And when they put these stones on there and everything, most of them, they had to rip them off the old roofs, and because the boards and all that underneath was bad and leaking, it was bad condition. With this foam, they got foam that's so dense, it's the same as a 2x4. You put a nail in it and you can't pull it out just like a 2x4. They make different qualities, I'm telling you. And so if you got a sag on the roof, they just put that over there. It's just like putting boards over it. So, and you can put a slope on it. If you want a little more fall, you can put it 3 inches, 4 inches, and slope it. You can do all the furnaces and everything else. You foam right up on them. So you don't have. That's just my theory that I've worked on. So.
Well, I tend to go with whatever the experts recommend, but Gary, I have to say, after hearing from you on this so often, I've got a 500 square foot flat roof on my porch. When that thing goes bad, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have them foam it and put a nice slope on it, because flat roofs are just crazy.
Yep, you put a slope on it.
But anyway, any further discussion on this? All in favor of moving this forward signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
And we move forward with that.
Item F, leases. We have, the sheriff's department would like to buy out the leases on 2 2016 Dodge Chargers. In today's market, a police car is a fortune, and so they will probably use these as backups, or they still use them. One has 74,000, one has 106,000 miles. And the price on that, to buy out those 2 leases, is $21,200. I would move that to buy out those leases at that price.
Support.
Does that mean when they buy them out, they get the car then?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, 'cause
That's the lease end.
not all leases are that way.
This one will be completely, this is the purchase of them, so.
Oh,
we will
okay.
be
I didn't see
purchasing-
that written on there.
We will be purchasing them in their entirety, and given the difficulty we have had getting cruisers, it's better just to keep these 2 at the moment. And
What's
Sheriff,
what's our life expectancy on them, and
Well, they should.
how do we get rid of them since we own it? Lease is easy, you give it back.
oh, you auction off all of those. So
Okay.
oftentimes taxi cab companies buy old police cruisers.
They get a beefed up frame if it hasn't been ruined, and they get a beefed up engine and beefed up transmissions.
Yeah, with only 74,000, they ought to be good for a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I got a Chevy truck that's 20 years old and it's got 216,000. It's still going good, motor and transmission. So maybe I don't use it as hard as they do.
I was gonna make a guess that our police force is a little harder on a car than you are. Taking it down to the strip every weekend.
Well, and Tracy was adamant that this needed to be done, so.
Okay.
May
so-
I confirm that dollar amount, 21,200?
Yeah,
Yes.
$21,200
Okay,
for both vehicles.
thank you.
Sounds good.
Any other discussion on that? All right, all in favor of moving this forward to tomorrow signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we move that forward.
Okay, then item G, discussion about our county coordinator search and activities. And I'd like to start that discussion. I have reconsidered my position on our vote that we took on Monday.
Tuesday.
Monday.
Monday at
Right,
5.
right.
I've really thought a long time about this, and I'm really nervous about trying to hire someone who hasn't had county experience in county government. And so I'd like to have further discussion, how everyone else would feel about this, and we can go from there, or we can decide what to do.
I already voted no, so.
As did I, so I'm in favor of,
Someone else.
yeah, making another choice, maybe a better fit for this county.
So are we discussing right now, the possibility of rescinding our offer? That's what we're talking about.
That's
then?
what we're talking
Yes.
about, yes.
I already rescinded.
I have to be honest, my yes vote was a reluctant one. I was the last to vote and already there were 4 votes there. I would have gone another way, but I thought it polite. But if we're going to reopen this, I have to admit I would be comfortable doing that.
It's a very important decision, and obviously, I didn't feel good about that choice, so.
Now, if we have further discussion, we will, make a motion here today, and then,
So, Mr. Chair, if you're gonna do that, you'd have to make a motion to rescind a rescission motion.
I have prepared.
you have. Well, why don't you make the motion, and then we'll see where we go from there. This is to move it to tomorrow, or is this,
This would move it till tomorrow.
this would move it to tomorrow?
If
This
it
is not,
passes.
this is not a, it's just right now a motion to move it to tomorrow, and then
Because
we
this
have
is
to
a
have.
board action that happened, that's already made official. So this would, why would this move this tomorrow? This would be an official action of the board, wouldn't it?
You made a conditional offer. I think that if, Mr. Plowman has talked with legal counsel and legal counsel has advised him and given him steps if that is the decision he wishes to make.
Yeah.
So our attorney has vetted this, and we can do this,
Yes.
okay?
So I'll make the motion to put it up so we get it for discussion. I move that the issue of rescinding the motion to make a conditional employment offer to Adam Stacy, which was passed at the special meeting on Monday, be added to Thursday's agenda.
Support.
Right, I have a motion with support. Do I have further discussion on that?
This is putting the discussion tomorrow?
Yes, it's to open a discussion on whether we want to possibly rescind the offer tomorrow. That's pretty much what
We're
we're
moving,
doing.
if it's,
Wanna
I
make
think
sure
the
everybody
motion right
understands.
now is to rescind the offer.
yes,
Yes,
Let's be clear.
yeah, it is.
and a final vote would be tomorrow,
It is
right?
highly unlikely that if you rescinded today, that anyone that it was offered to would actually take the job.
Agreed.
But would we be finalizing it tomorrow, or is this, that's what I'm just trying to figure out here.
You can finalize it tomorrow, but it would be highly unlikely that someone were to proceed if that is the route you take.
And is our other option to just get it done today? Right
I
now,
think
the way that motion is written, it sounds like we're rescinding it in committee of the whole, and then we'll move it on to finalization tomorrow,
You
correct?
can move it on to finalization
Okay,
tomorrow.
I just wanna make sure,
Well,
because
that's
it's
a good point, yeah, because.
confusion.
That can be.
But our attorney seems to think that's what we're doing. So apparently John's already talked with him.
I don't get that from the motion. I get it from that we're supposed to vote right now.
If we vote to rescind the offer, and it goes tomorrow, it's just ratified unless it's voted down. But if it's voted through today, I would most likely be ratified tomorrow. Now, we could also change this motion to, to rescind, but, I would just assume we just carry along with what our normal activities are this week, committee meetings, committee of the whole, and then our regular board meeting.
Alright,
I have to admit, I would be more comfortable
So,
approving.
do
to
we
move
vote
it on.
yes or no on what he said then?
If you want to move it on to tomorrow for a final decision on whether to rescind, you would vote yes.
If you wanna maintain the offer, you vote no on this part, on this, so.
I guess it's really confusing to me, so.
Is there further discussion on this? Anyone?
Yes, sir. We got a couple issues here. One, that this would be a highly unusual move.
Indeed.
Especially given the fact that one of the commissioners who was supportive of the hiring is not here at the moment.
Which is part of why I supported
Moving it.
finalizing to tomorrow.
Maybe we should just vote tomorrow to put it on the agenda.
For tomorrow.
Because we're having a discussion over this.
well, if John has talked to legal
Mr. Board
counsel,
Chair, if I could have the floor. In addition to that, this is a highly unusual move. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that I feel despicable. Making an offer to an individual with a family who probably is already making arrangements, and then later in the week say, well, actually, we've decided no, we're not gonna do that. And then the next question would be, what would be the process moving forward? Because as Dr. Boggs had stated, you've already told all your candidates no. We are now at the end of the candidate pool. At which point, if you guys sounds like maybe have made a deal to get this done and get this guy out of here, fine. I don't want to be a part of hiring anyone after that, okay? We went through the process, we used a company to do it, this looks like a backdoor deal, like we've gone in around and said, well, he wasn't our guy, so we're not gonna go with him. This is what it looks like, I'm not saying it's what it is. And at that point, why don't we just allow the next board who comes in to make the decision? Why should I, at this point, be making a decision for the new folks who wanna come in? There's gonna be new commissioners. Just leave me right out of it, I say. Kick it off to next year. Because to vote one way on an individual, and then if there is indeed another name that we would say, well, let's give them a call and see if they, that's just so unorthodox. It makes me feel uncomfortable and almost sick to my stomach. I cannot be a part of it, I cannot.
Don't think that was in the.
But I'm only one vote.
Well, I don't think, and again, we're just talking off the tops of our heads because this is unusual.
It's unusual.
But not anything that apparently we can't do. Democracy gets messy sometimes. And a reconsideration, the most important thing is that we get someone who the board fully can support. I hear what you're saying, and I would agree to you, if we go through with this, I will, for one, be in favor of moving this on to the next board. There'll be 2 new people here. I don't know what that'll look like. That's something that'll have to be considered. I have, through all of this process, talked to Dr. Boggs, and if I say anything you disagree with Dr. Boggs, please tell me. But Dr. Boggs has told me that he is not necessarily, he does not have to run out the door at the end of the month, that he would be willing to stay around a little longer.
Well, as we had talked about in passing, that you had wanted me to do somewhat of a transition period with a new individual anyways, to go over all the projects, the courthouse stuff, the vendors, the department heads, all the individuals. That was probably gonna take through January anyways. So staying longer is not a problem, I have, but you still need to continue the search in the new year.
Mm-hmm. So we're not in an emergency situation as far as we are without a county coordinator. We have a very good county coordinator.
But you will have to start the search
I don't,
in the new year.
even if we don't, I don't want to pull someone in who doesn't have the support of the board.
I would agree.
And that's wrong too.
And we are here to make the best decision for the county regardless of how we might feel personally, so.
Okay. So we can discuss it then more tomorrow, if that's the pleasure of the board. So all in favor of moving this forward to tomorrow for further discussion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Aye.
Okay, we have, what did I get, I'm sorry, Gary, were you not?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
I already voted a long time ago.
But the 2 nays were Commissioner Howard and Commissioner Marks, correct?
Yes, so we have, that will move forward for further discussion tomorrow.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Marks, you want me to just stay here?
Yeah, that would be best. I'll just run this report for you.
All right, very good.
If it is your pleasure, I would move at this time to approve the contract for the electrical inspection services with John Keach and authorize the chair to sign the same.
Support.
I have motion with support. Discussion on that item?
This is so that we do these here and not by the state.
All right.
And he's a good guy, he's a good electrician, I use him all the time.
Further discussion. All in favor of moving that forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It moves forward.
Now I will move to approve the model plan adoption resolution 22-12-13 for the Shiawassee County Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Discussion on that item.
I would just like to point out that we have several members here today. We have Bonnie Reno and Constance Connie. I know Phil's over here, and Larry, and Tony, and myself, and Mike over there.
He was.
He had to leave for
And
a
Tim's
sweaty.
there. Yeah, okay, Carl was here earlier, and Tim. A lot of good work on this, a lot of input, and I'm just thrilled about it, and once we approve it, we'll move into our trying to maybe get some very good grants from the state, because they have a lot of money in 2023 to give out for parks and rec and all sorts of things. So anyway, I just like to point out that a lot of hard work into it, a lot of the board is here tonight to say thank you, so thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I might.
Yes.
I would just say that I read over the plan and everything. I think it's a phenomenal plan, and I think it shows the dedication of our Parks and Rec Board members who are here, who have a lot of energy for trying to make sure that the residents of Shiawassee County have recreational activities and areas in which to engage in them.
Any other discussion? All in favor of moving this forward, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that moves forward.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Now on to item C. I move to approve the purchase of property fraud software in an amount not to exceed $17,150.00 and authorize the Register of Deeds to execute the same.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Discussion on that item? Hearing none, all in favor of moving that forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That moves forward.
Right, now on to item D. I move to approve the next phase of the stormwater project in an amount not to exceed $65,000.00 with the understanding that it will be paid back to the general fund from the drain commissioner from the first eligible project.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Discussion on that item.
So as Tony and has presented and his consultants, this is part of a stormwater management plan, which in Shiawassee County, if the drains are not functional, we're underwater, right? So this is important to move forward. However, the money must be returned to the general fund on the first eligible project or eligible loan. And so it'll be incumbent upon the board and administration and Tony to make sure that it gets repaid at that point.
There is no guarantee that we will get grant money and so on, but there are a lot of years and a lot of grants, and it seems fairly likely with a good plan that's going to happen, and this will be a positive thing. I know.
What's the process of getting the money back? Who watches the in-house?
It'll be Tracy mostly.
Oh.
Tracy will make sure that every dollar is returned.
Plus interest?
Well, you know, if it's not returned, the drain commissioner could always reduce our assessment at large until we get to repay it.
I just wondered who was watching it.
Well, yeah, it is.
It's not that much money, but yet.
I don't know, going into a tight budget, it is, but hopefully it'll be a risk that pays off.
Yes. I think we started this, it's been about a year, hasn't it, since we started this, Tony?
This summer.
Yeah. Oh, was it that recently? No, it was farther back than that, since we first talked about this. So, obviously there's some gamble here, but to not do this is a guarantee that we just aren't going to get any of those grants. And I think that would be a bad thing. So hopefully it's going to pay off for us.
Grant money will go to someone. It might as well come here.
Yes.
We all like state and federal money.
Well, to a point, unless it causes rampant inflation and.
As long as it's out there, we may as well have it. No, I understand what you're saying for sure. All right. All in favor of moving that forward, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? and that will move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Board Chair. At this time, that concludes my report.
All right, I'll need someone, if someone would, Commissioner Webster isn't here, if someone would, take care of it,
Yeah.
please do, thank you.
All right, in that case, item A, under Public Safety and Courts, at this time I move to approve the payment to the State of Michigan Department of Technology Management and Budget for radio activation in an amount not to exceed $45,250.00 and
Support.
0 cents.
Support.
I have a motion with support, any discussion on that item?
We do have Lieutenant Norling here, tonight, if there are any questions.
I think we kinda have to turn them on, don't we?
You gotta join the state band, that's how you do
Yes.
it.
Yeah. We were talking, how long does Motorola support? I mean, a lot of times they change the radios a little bit or whatever, and they give you support for 10 years and then they say, you know,
Well, that's what happened with our last radios, they were past the, didn't have the parts to repair them anymore, but the last radios, they lasted 15 years, so.
okay, yeah.
So,
And I know they get dropped and,
I
you know, and people lose them for a while sometimes and they find them, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
they're beat up, but they do last a while.
All right. Yeah, so we were just curious that, we said that I think they become, Motorola obsoletes them, so you have to buy new ones.
Yeah, just like everything else, unfortunately.
Yep.
Further discussion? All right. All in favor of moving that item forward to tomorrow, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that item moves forward.
Thank you, Chairman, that's it.
Thank you for taking care of that. Commissioner Garber.
I would entertain a motion that we approve, or make a motion that we approve the MSU Extension Services for 2023 and authorize the board chairman to sign the agreement.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Discussion on that? All in favor of moving that forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that moves forward.
I move that we approve the grant agreement between the Shiawassee County Health Department and the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, EGLE, for environmental health services in the amount of $109,184 for a period of 10/1/2022 through 9/30/23.
Support.
A motion with support. Further discussion? All in favor of moving that forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Move that forward.
I move that we approve the contract between the Shiawassee County Health Department and ALZY Environmental Service LLC for registered sanitarian services in the amount of $38 per hour for an average of 24 hours per week for a period of 1/1/2023 to 12/31/23.
Support.
Motion with support. Discussion on that? All in favor of moving it forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moves forward.
I move that we approve the contract between the Shiawassee County Health Department and Dr. Dennis Chernin for medical director services in the amount of $39,240 for a period of 1/1/2023 through 12/31/23.
Support.
Motion with support. Further discussion on that? I know we get a real bargain there. All in favor of moving that forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we move forward. Commissioner Marks, back to you.
Yes, sir, thank you. At this time, item A, I will move to approve the resolution of appointments to county advisory committees as recommended by the board chair.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Any discussion of any of those? In that case, all, excuse me. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is approved.
Item B, I move to approve the holiday schedule and the BOC meeting schedule as presented.
Support.
Motion with support. Discussion on that?
When I reviewed this, how many holidays do we have? Because it starts out at the top of January, but it ends with January, so how many are actually considered 2023?
That is a very good
This is
question.
17.
Well,
So if it is observed in this calendar year, then in the 2023 calendar year, then it is considered that year, because that's the pay period it'll come out of. So January 1 is observed on Monday, January 2nd. Let's see, January 1 observed on January 1 in the next one, which is New Year's Day and Monday. So I guess you could draw a line on this particular year's calendar after December 26th. Those other two are set, but they are in 2024.
May I speak? When we present that, when we were calculating the way those holidays are falling at the end of 2023, we're like, what would you guys decide? But because it does fall on a Monday, do we
Right.
just give it Monday, or does it tie in? Like this, it happens on Saturday and Sunday, so that's why they're getting Friday and Monday, but that's why we have it on there. So many people question when they're being
Yeah, it's a little
observed.
confusing.
I know.
The handbook says that if it falls on a Saturday, it's observed on a Friday, and if it falls on a Sunday, it's observed on a Monday. So this just covers everything, and because there are a couple of years where January 1 actually falls back and being observed at a different time, that's why January 1's on there twice.
So we're at 15 days for the courts and 14 days for everybody else, is that, did I do that math?
I think so.
13 and 14.
13.
For everyone else and 14 for the courts.
That is correct. And this does two things. This says what the operating schedule of the county is in general, but it affects the non-reps. Almost all the other unions have their days already in the contracts, in the CBAs, the collective bargaining agreements, which have already been adopted. So changing the county schedule here will not affect the collective bargaining unit agreements.
Any further discussion?
One more thing on the calendar, it looks like we don't have as many, meetings shifted to the third week, so that's a good thing. I know that kind of messes up meeting schedules for other people, and some of our township people have also, made that comment that it makes it difficult for them to get here when we shift to the third week.
I think it's because of no big there are elections, but it's not an even year.
Yeah, so it actually, I think it worked out, I like this calendar better.
It is
That-
greatly appreciated when you don't have meetings during an election week. Though, I mean, for the even years.
Right.
All right then, if there's nothing else, all in favor of approving that item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is good. Dr. Boggs, I know you have to leave. Did you have any comments before you depart?
No, I will make sure that I'll give my report tomorrow.
Very good, thank you very much. For myself, it sounds like we're gonna have an interesting meeting tomorrow, so I probably will save things for then. For now, I just wanted to let everyone know, we're doing some good work on the land bank. I went out, we've got $200,000 in blight remediation, and I have been out to look at several of the properties in Durand and Lennon, and of course Shiawassee and Langsburg. I wish we had $2 million, but we're gonna do our best on that. It's just a start. Hopefully there will be further rounds in upcoming years, and we can help our local communities do some blight removal and kickstart a little bit of economic development. So that's a pretty good thing. And it looks like we are going to be taking over a bunch of properties from the state land bank, and that's going to, with the sale of those properties, at least the ones that are saleable, should fund the land bank. So the county, we can get our money back from the land bank. It's not a lot of money, but we've kind of been lending them the money, and we'll get that money back. The land bank will become self-funding, which, considering the legal papers were really just put together this year, that will be an impressive thing for it to be on its feet so quickly. That's all that I have. At this time, we have a second opportunity for the public to address this body. Is there anyone who would like to say anything? Yes, please.
Connie Cobley, 405 West Main Street, Durand. This parks plan is putting the Shiawassee River in the top 20 rivers in the United States. This is going to go into geography books. This is really, really important. You will have people riding bikes to the parks. This isn't a playground. This is the river. And the river has beautiful forest around it. This is so important. I can't wait to go back to Michigan State and hear a professor start preaching about it. So I'm very proud of you for doing this work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bonnie Randall, 580 North Kirby Road, Corona. I also want to thank the board members that have participated, especially John Plowman and also Brad Howard, that have been attending the various meetings throughout the years, because without their support and input, I don't think we would have gotten as far as we have. So I really do appreciate the time it took to put it all together. It is one of the best boards I've ever served on. Thank you.
Marvelous, thank you. Anyone else? All right then, at this point, we're adjourned.
We're going to get to the River Trail annual meeting.
You want to? Yeah.